Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast YouTube channel. My name is Samaria and I'm joined by my best friend and co-host Miyosha. And today we're reviewing Married at First Sight season 16 episode 14. But before
Hmm.
we get into that, please make sure that you are subscribed to our channel. Comment as much as you would like about this episode and the couples, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we are going to start with Nicole and Chris.
Yeah, that bidet scene about took me out. Like,
Oh
did,
yeah,
did we need to see all that?
they be getting intimate in ways that I didn't care to know for. But
Like,
yeah.
we don't need to hear about y'all's clean tushies and
I know.
ooh.
Okay, so the bidet scene, and then they talked with Dr. Pia, who I was really happy to see they brought back this
Mhm.
season. They also brought back Devon, so I guess we'll see him next episode.
Yeah, it seems like I guess they bring them in towards the end for one or two episodes. They're not ongoing. So
Yeah,
I don't know how impactful that will
I'm
really be.
surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised he made it a second season. I wasn't sure how that would work, but I do love Dr.
Mm,
Pia, and I did love her advice for the most part, like this episode too. So I was glad to see her.
yeah.
Um, she be asking those like hard hitting questions. So,
Yeah.
and do you have any comments that you want to start with her?
I mean, the only thing I could appreciate that Dr. Pia called out Nicole maybe having this people pleasing or maybe not trying to disrupt the water's energy. She was
Yes.
talking about how she feels like the foreplay is lacking. And that also made me think like, is there anything else that Nicole may not be wanting to complain about just
Mm-hmm.
because she wants to keep everything nice and sweet?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wrote down is that I don't know, I understand taking accountability on Nicole's part, but I do feel a little bit concerned with how eager she is and how when Chris has talked about his previous relationships, there hasn't been much accountability on his part, especially given that we've seen her um kind of concede on the dog thing and then make adjustments for the lease. I don't know. I understand that she feels like she has work that needs to be done,
Mm-hmm.
but I want her to pull back just a little bit.
Yeah, it's like self-deprecating at this point. I I thought it was interesting when she said she's usually a people pleaser, but not in this relationship. And I'm like, wait, so you were even more of a people pleaser? Because I feel like we have seen her be a little bit people pleasing with Chris, and that's why he's winning. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and when she refers to old Nicole, that doesn't sound like a people pleaser to me either. The way
Mm-hmm.
she would describe
Mm-hmm.
herself, how she was so outspoken, and
Yeah.
so I don't know. It seems like she's more of a people pleaser now, but we didn't know this woman before, so
Right.
we could be wrong.
I wonder what narrative she's telling herself for
Mm,
this relationship to work, you know? And I hope that she can, whatever narrative it is, I hope that it serves her and that she actually does get what she wants, not just what she had to take.
yeah, like she may need work, but she's clearly willing to take accountability.
Right.
And then once again they brought up the previous relationships, like, kind of
He was just waiting for her to
waiting.
ask some type of question. He was ready. And I feel like with them, there's always a sad moment. Like there's always gonna be a moment with tears or a sob story, or like there's always something with them that brings the energy down. It's like they have like the spirit of Eeyore, like their relationship a little bit.
But maybe you remember that, was it last week they had the scene where they were doing those impersonations of the voices and they were all
Yes.
being all goofy. So maybe it all balances out and
Yeah, you're right.
that's how they balance out the energy where they're from one high to the other. So it all equals. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I could go without hearing about the previous relationships.
Yes.
going forward. I don't want to hear anymore.
You probably will because Devon's coming on next week, and I'm sure they're going to find a way to work that in there next episode
he
too.
he didn't say the word toxic though.
He
So
did not. He did not say toxic.
he let that go. So
Okay, so yeah, I think that was it for the most part with them, her being afraid to rock the boat. So I hope
mm-hmm.
that, she gets those needs met. Okay.
All right.
Clint and Gina. I have more on them this week than I usually would. Probably because it was so awkward with them being with Dr. Pia. It was so weird.
What did Clint say? Damn, Gina. Every time he said, I really like Clint. I do.
I do too.
He's been a pleasant surprise.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for him in their scenes, I would be asleep.
Yeah. What did he say at the beginning of the season? What an unfortunate turn of events. But this is the opposite. It's like a fortunate turn of events that, he turned out to be one of my favorite people to watch on the show. I think he brings a good energy no matter what the
Mm-hmm.
situation is. And I think Gina wasn't even trying to not make this scene awkward. So Dr. Pia visits, they talk about how they're getting along, and that's it. Like, there's no intimacy. And I felt like
Mm.
Dr. Pia was really working with what she had, but I wish she realized she had nothing to work with.
Yeah, because I don't understand the point of an intimacy conversation if these people just don't see each other in that way.
Yeah, and I guess that's her job to like help them foster that. But it's like if these people don't want to foster it, it can't be fostered. Like no matter, I don't care how many facts you spit, I don't care how much good advice you give. If they don't want to foster that intimacy, all your work is going to be in vain.
And I will also say that I think on Clint's part, he would be open to it. But I
Mm-hmm.
think once she sensed Gina's energy,
Mm-hmm.
that says a lot. So I'll give him that. He's like, hey, I'm here. I'm willing to try. I feel like she's more of the barrier to
Yeah,
trying.
I don't think
Yeah.
he's willing to try either. I think he's completely turned off from her at this point.
I mean, he might be, but I think he'd be open to it. Maybe I'm reaching. But I think if the moment presented, I think he would. What did he say? There's a lot of independent exercise going on.
Yes,
So I think he
yes.
would be open, like, she's here. I'm here.
Which is, I mean, it is a testament to like the questions that Dr. Pia was asking them. She we wouldn't have gotten that response if she hadn't asked them maybe the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just such an awkward scene. And I think Gina made it even more awkward because she was more like you could see it on her physically. Like if she could have
Yeah.
run and just hid in the corner, she would have. That's
She was
that's
just
the energy she's giving.
she was just like, girl, no, girl, no. That's
I
what
could
her
never
whole
see.
energy
Yeah.
gave. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about these things with someone who I wouldn't do them with, or I don't want to do this with that. But it's like, okay, Gina. But
Yeah, because one thing could lead to another, and maybe that's just her not wanting to lead anything on. I mean, I don't even know. Have they even given each other a hug, a kiss? I mean, I love Dr. Pia, but we've skipped so many
mm-hmm.
steps. Like they aren't even. Are they holding hands or cuddling? Like they have nothing. What did he say later? We're not even in the ballpark. We're outside waiting in line.
Yeah.
So,
Dr. Pia, she was really trying. She said, well, how do you think the marriage is gonna last? Girl, it
girl.
ain't. It shouldn't have even lasted this long because at this point, why are you guys still on this show? Maybe it's because Gina's trying to get press for her salon, which again, she brought it up when she was like when she said Clint doesn't have swag. And he was so offended. He said, I'm Senior Swag. That's actually my name. But
Yeah.
she brought up her salon when she's like, oh, if you got a different haircut, that's all you need is a new haircut. Gina, stop trying to make this man a client. Do you want to be his wife or not? Because
Yeah,
it's
and
not.
also feel like she be taking jabs at him about how he presents himself physically
She
and
hasn't
for her
learned.
Yeah, it's like, girl, for you to have really been in your feelings on the honeymoon,
Yeah.
why do you keep talking about this man's appearance? Because he could not get away with what she's doing right now, even though she tries to present it in a joking way.
Yeah.
And it's added, it's worse because you've already said that you're not attracted to him. So it's one thing if you're like, oh babe, could you change this like small thing? Or oh, I think it would look better if you did it this way.
Mm-hmm.
You could say things like that if you're already attracted or you're making progress.
Yeah.
I don't think there would be anything wrong with her suggesting maybe a different haircut or, oh, I could trim it up in this way, it'll look nicer. But
Yeah.
you already don't like him. You clearly aren't attracted to him. And you try, girl.
Yeah, you're gonna say no on decision day. It seems to be like he hasn't had any problems in the past getting people with his current haircut. So
No.
why should he change that because you don't like it when you're both feet out the door, you know? So but Dr. Pia said something that was funny to me just because she said it with Clint and Gina. She said,
Mm.
when couples have these concerns, they come to me. And I'm like, girl, they don't even have concerns. Like,
They chilling.
right, like for a couple that was trying to do a marriage, maybe this would be concerning, but for them it's just Tuesday,
Yeah.
it's just another day for them. But
They're just trying to get through it, get their money, keep it cute, keep it moving, and
it's not fun to watch. Like
mm-mm,
just have Clint meet up with the boys and Gina can work at her salon. She doesn't have to do filming anymore because it's not fun watching them at all at this
mm-mm.
point. Okay.
Mm.
Jasmine and Eris.
Hmm. Man, oh man.
This was a tough episode for our girl Jasmine.
This whole season has been tough on her.
It has been. I understand why she's at her breaking point. And then, so I don't know that I liked the outcome of Dr. Pio with them
Mm.
because she was suggesting that, I guess the thing that would turn Eris on is her initiating more. And I just feel like she's initiated enough in this relationship and it's time to cut her losses.
Yeah, initiate to someone who isn't attracted to her.
Yeah.
We find out isn't hugging her, isn't showing any type of affection.
Not even a
You
hug.
want a girl out here looking thirsty for a man that don't want her?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I feel like all the focus was on okay, maybe not all the focus because she did say something to him about meeting Jasmine's needs, but a lot of the focus was on how to get Eris to be attracted to her or what things can we do to get him more excited about it. And it's like I'm not here to be training you to like me, like
Mm-hmm.
either you do or you don't. Like, I'm not about to put my energy towards initiating just for you to reject me. And then I feel salty about it. I feel like I feel like she's already given so much of herself at the beginning and
Mm-hmm.
towards the middle that it's just a lost case. Like, there's nothing, like, stop trying to figure out what'll make Eris like her. He doesn't. And that's that.
Yeah, one thing that Jasmine said at the opening of the episode was that she was hopeful, which was a bit confusing for me given the energy that she's been putting out there. And we later find out that the reason why she was checked out in the questions conversation from last week was because he was disinterested, probably no eye contact. And so we find out more. So I just want to know, Jasmine, why are you hopeful? I hope she's just saying that just for
I
TV.
I feel like she's just saying that. I feel like she's just saying that, but that is neither here nor there. I like that she got to the point where it was like he friend zoned me on the honeymoon, and he's not giving me hugs. So I like that she was very direct about that. And but it was funny when Dr. P was like, "Do you feel like you're holding back?" And she said no initially. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine, you are holding back, rightfully so, but it's okay to admit that because he hasn't given you anything to move forward with. Why wouldn't you
Mm-hmm.
hold back at this point, So yeah, I just didn't like the turn that the conversation took when he said, yeah, I like that when she's calling me out. I like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm sorry that she's a nice girl who, isn't gonna be calling you out every like. Why are you doing these things that she has to call you out for? And I don't know. I just didn't like the vibe of that conversation. Why does Jasmine have to do more work for this man who's given her nothing?
Speaking of more work,
Mm-hmm.
we hear the conversation of, I guess, that he has with the sister who was trying to get him together and gave him solid advice. Like, this woman shouldn't have to try to convince you to like her or to be
Yeah,
into her. Um, and then we also hear that the reason why he clapped was because Pastor
Pastor
Cal,
Cal.
well, I don't think he said it verbatim, but it was
Yeah,
like, oh, make her feel appreciated and wanted. And she's just like, so you did it so I would feel good about myself knowing you didn't mean it?
it's like
Why
the
would you
one.
even tell her that?
Right. The one good thing you've done this whole marriage was a lie. And you think it's okay to disclose that information. Okay. Okay.
Like, and this is why she's checked out.
Yes.
Eh,
He's given her
Answer the
the
questions
bare
for what?
minimum. Yeah, he's given her the bare minimum. He only did this because Pastor Cal said made her feel special. He only asked the questions because that was the assignment. He only lives in the house because they have to. He only takes care of the dog because the dog is there and he has to interact with it. He only interacts with her because she's there and he has to interact with her. Like, he's not even given the bare minimum at this point. So
And
I
he needs to be coached from his sister. And I understand taking advice, but even simple things like greeting her, or he's like, oh, well, the
yeah.
longer you go without doing it, the more it feels awkward. Just admit that you're not into her and just bow out of the process. That's what I wish he would do at this
Yes.
point.
We really only had two couples that we needed to see past their anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rest is just dragging. That's why the season feels so boring, is because we don't have any like see like with Shaq and Kirsten, at least we have something to talk about. you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but Jasmine said my husband should be smitten. He should want to like hold my hand. I'm like, yes, girl, as he should. Let go
Yeah.
of
I
him.
I don't know who would want to open up to someone who's disinterested in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we see the camera scenes where he's not really giving her eye contact and he just seems checked out,
Yes,
why is it on her?
it shouldn't be. It should not be.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Shaq and Kirsten, and then we can talk about the boys meet up, girls meet up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the episode starts with this Zoom call where
The,
listen, Shaquille. No, you be you be Kirsten because she was all, "Hi, honey." You be
hi,
Kirsten.
honey.
I'll be Shaquille.
Hi, honey.
Sorry, I can't even do it right. Hey,
How was your day?
it was good.
How is it going?
Good. It was.
What time are you driving back?
I haven't really decided yet.
Okay.
And
Can't forget the kiss at the
she called back. She said, Shaquille, I was trying to blow you kisses and you didn't blow them back. I'm like, girl, does this man look like he's trying to blow kisses right now? He
He was so
was
checked
in
out.
his feelings. Oh my God. That was the most hilarious thing to me ever.
Why is this girl on my line?
Right.
And at first I was just trying to figure out, like, what
What's
happened?
going on? Right.
What
This is
is
not our
going on?
Shaquille.
And then we find out it's because she canceled on the trip.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was so funny to me. Like when this man said, I haven't decided when I want to come back. And she was like, oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you back. And no, she said something like, you'll be home tomorrow. And he goes, yeah, I'll be home tomorrow. I said, geez, what did she do to our guy? But yeah, I thought that was really funny. But when he got back in his like confessional, he was like, I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to have my couch. I'm happy to see my wife. So it was completely different from the from the FaceTime where he didn't even look at her. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was looking everywhere but at her on the screen.
He
Um,
was in his feelings.
he really was. And she said something about her in the after party that
Mm.
I'll mention later. But Dr. Pia comes and she's like, "Oh, how's everything going?" Now the thing with Kirsten and Shaq, they're never on the same page when the experts come. Like they have never been on the same page when an expert comes. So Dr. Pia asks the question. Kirsten says, "Oh, it's been great," and she said, "What's been making it great?" And Kirsten says, "The quality time."
That
Which
you
is what
didn't.
she had been asking for. So if she's getting it, I understand why she thinks things are going great.
He's like, it's been rocky. Ooh, mm,
Yeah. Um, the whole masculinity conversation.
mm. Girl, you think this is the way to get this man to get you a house?
She ain't never going. She gonna be renting apartments for the rest of her life like this. No,
Ooh.
but she took this really long pause, like unusually long, and she's like, "Yeah, he is masculine." Like,
Wait. You skipped something. Hold
what
on.
did I
Let's go
skip?
back to when Dr. Pia asked, "Oh, what are you attracted to as far as him?" This girl said moving boxes.
You know what's funny? I feel like Kirsten on the after party is way more articulate than Kirsten on the show. Because I see the comments where people are like, she can barely hold a conversation. She's not intelligent enough for this man. Then when I watch the after party, I'm like, if you would have said that in the scene, girl, it would have been better for you. But
And that's why I'm like, with the after party because they've had time to get their thoughts
Mhm.
together. And I don't know. I feel like we're seeing the real them. And not just with her. I think it's with all of
All
them.
of
It's
them.
just the real raw them.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, when it comes to the after party, because you can kind of shape the narrative that you want because also your spouse isn't on the episode as well.
Yes.
So, but either way, so
Yeah.
she mentioned moving boxes, basically him doing manly things or things for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, I wish she would have said something about his personality or
Yeah.
him physically, not him doing things.
Well, unless her what do they call it? Love language. Unless her love
Uh,
language is acts of service.
and I get all that, but just
Yeah.
given how we started,
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to make up for it. Not it's not even about Shaq anymore. You need to make up for it with us, with the audience. It's about us at this point.
yeah, just like, oh, he has a beautiful smile, which he does, or
Yes.
his personality, he lights up a room. I don't know, just something
Yeah.
more than moving boxes.
Okay. I wonder what her dad did for a living
He
because
said entrepreneur, business owner. I don't
I
know.
I wonder what the business was.
Hmm.
I wonder if it was like, is it blue collar work where it's not like in an office. An office is white collar type stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Collar
yeah,
is
yeah.
like
Blue collar, yeah.
yeah. So I wonder what her dad did for a living, like what his occupation is, because if it was something where he was very physical, like had to
Oh, yeah,
move
manual.
things and yeah, because I'm like everything comes back to her dad, which I understand. Like there are a lot of things for me that go back to my dad
Mhm.
too. Um, but everything can't be a comparison to your father, who this man has never met.
Mm. And this is where I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna say that she's not close with her dad because I don't know that, but for this person to be the standard that you're kind of going by in terms of what you're looking for in a relationship, I'm just so surprised that he's yet to meet him.
Hmm.
Like, that's not, he didn't come to the wedding. Y'all haven't met yet. I'm just, where are her people at in this process or this show? And maybe they didn't want to be on. I
Mm.
get that, but for them to be close and her to be bringing him up so much, she even said early on that she was a daddy's girl. I know
Mm-hmm.
daddy's girls. The dad is there. Even if they felt a way about whatever. So
I don't
I'm
know.
confused.
I do not know. But okay, so I liked it and then I didn't like it. But she said that he makes her feel secure and comfortable as opposed to safe and protected. And I thought that was a very, I don't know, maybe profound difference to make. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, because Shaq definitely does give off like, oh, I'm gonna make you comfortable. Like we saw how patient he has been the entire time to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that she has that comfort with him. Um, he always reassures her that he wants to be in the relationship, so I can see the
Mm-hmm.
security thing. But this whole safe and protected, like he said, do I need to rough somebody up for you to feel like I would step in? And so I like that they stayed on that for a while because that's something that she probably needs to unpack, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the energy that he's giving her so far isn't what she think would be able to maybe protect her or
From
make her
what
feel
though?
safe.
I know people who've been married several years and have never had to like physically step in between them and another. So I was with Shaq. I'm like, what can he do? Like what needs to happen for you to feel this way? And so I think she needs to articulate that
Mm-hmm.
better. It can't just be, oh, moving boxes. It can't just be, oh, I feel secure and comfortable, not safe and protected. Like if you have this expectation, which he says she has a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be articulated properly because what you see in your head is not what the other person might see in their head. So you need to be as specific as possible. I think it's only fair.
And maybe she's still trying to figure that out or
That's true.
understand her expectations, because I think maybe when you have been married and been with the person, you
Yeah.
kind of have those life experiences to pull off of, like, oh, we were in a situation and this happened, but you all just got together. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe she's looking for reassurance from his energy, but that's not going to, I don't know how much that will help until you just lived some life
Yeah.
together, for him to show like, oh yeah, I can protect you. And
Mm-hmm.
as he said, like if they were in a situation, I don't see him just leaving her hanging. uh I don't know, I feel like maybe what she was getting at is if they are in a situation, he may not be the type to create a scene or have a lot of aggressive energy. And he
He's not
said
going
that,
Will Smith the
yeah,
person.
yeah, he's not gonna slap anybody. So I think she's maybe looking for a bit of that rough, rugged, tough energy from him,
Mm-hmm.
and she's maybe not articulating that. But he already said, hey, that's not me
Yeah.
to bring that type of energy. Like we can talk about things.
She said on the after party, and I'm just going to say it here because it's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate we're talking about it, but she said things like him checking the car or, carrying the bags for the groceries. So she gave this example of him working out one day and she came home with the groceries and she was like, oh, the groceries are there, they need to be brought up. And he was like, okay, well, I'm working out right now. And she didn't want to interrupt his workout. So then she ended up having to bring all the groceries up. And so I do think
Mm.
it's probably stuff like she said, checking the car, or they don't even have a lawn to mow, but that type of stuff where the man is just doing manly
Yeah, more
things.
physical. Yeah.
Yeah, that I think she's expecting, but she has to also realize they haven't even been in a lot of situations together to see
Mm-hmm.
how he would react. Like he, to me, seems like a gentleman. So if there was something he could do to offer her that, I don't know, reassurance, like he would. So
Mm-hmm.
so that was it on that. But then when it came to the trip, because my guy's not feeling supported right now, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So she said that he actually didn't have anything like planned or organized. Like he had mentioned, oh, okay, I'm going to Memphis for this thing, but he didn't have like anything organized. And so she was like, she invited herself, and she was like, oh, I maybe I'll come too. And he said, yeah, maybe you can come. I mean, you have friends there that you can hang out with and stuff. And so for her, it was a matter of, all right, he doesn't really want me there. I'm not going to hang out with my friends. I want to go and hang out with him.
Mm.
I can hang out with my friends here in Nashville. And so that's why she
Mm-hmm.
planned things. So it does seem like their wires got crossed, but
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely see where he's coming from with, oh, I would have preferred that you were there. She said that scene where they were in the bed talking about it after the exercise they did,
Mm-hmm.
which we can talk about here too, but they spent a lot of time hashing that out. Like, I don't feel supported because you didn't come to do this with me after you said you would come, and just going back and forth about why this even happened. So yeah, I just
Mm-hmm.
want to share that from the after 40.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe the wires did get crossed.
I don't know, because next episode we see him having a conversation with her about needing support again. So I think she has a lot to learn that maybe she didn't think she had to learn until this experiment exposed it. Like she got a good enough person
Mm-hmm.
where her issues actually have been coming to the surface. You know, with other people, they're still stuck on attraction, not being there,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. So they don't have the opportunity to get into this relationship being a mirror of who they are, like, you know, exposing
Mm-hmm.
their faults and stuff. But she got matched up with a person who's so great that inevitably her flaws were gonna show. Were gonna show. If she came in thinking she had no work to do because he has done some work on himself,
Mm-hmm.
it shows that she clearly has a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah. The only thing I wished from that conversation with Dr. Pia was
Mm-hmm.
that Shaq would have, and maybe they did talk about it, we just didn't see it.
Yeah.
Was just that Shaq would have maybe given some insight about what he's liking, what he's not liking, and
Yeah.
what are his expectations of her as well. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. I think, what did I have? So he said that it takes a mental toll on him, and that actually hurt me because she has so many expectations of him. I don't know. I really like Shaq, so I don't want anything taking a mental toll on him, especially because it seems if this is recruiting season for him, this is a really aggressive time in his work
Mm-hmm.
life. So I would want him to have that support and that balance. And she talks about showing him that support and being supportive, but with Kirsten this entire season, the one thing that's been consistent is, yeah, you say these things so I can see you have an understanding of it, but then
Mm-hmm.
like your actions need to match the understanding that you have of it.
Yeah. My takeaway is that he is still trying, but I feel like he's checked out as
Mm.
well. I think he's over it.
The
That's
first scene,
it.
I definitely thought so. The first scene, I was like, oh yeah, it's a wrap for them. But then when he came home and was excited, and then even during their activity, he seems to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy himself around her. Like they seem to have fun together.
Yeah, but towards the end, he said happy is a stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think he's like, oh, admit it, I'm not gonna be miserable.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he's as into it
Yeah.
as we may have thought. I
I
think
think, was
he's
it last week he said like there are things that he needs to see from her before he can give a confident yes on decision day. And I like that. I
Mhm.
like that it's coming to the surface now and that he's calling it out, because if it's an issue now, there are like large chances that it'll be an issue later on. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but they are making progress. I mean, they're at second base. So I mean, only time will tell.
I I think they're the most improved couple. And not that we had a lot of options anyway, but they're
Yeah.
definitely the most improved couple because I saw in the previews that they're going to announce that they consummated. From where they started to now, there's been a lot of improvement over this season so far.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. So, was there anything that stood out to you during the boys' time together?
Uh, I mean, Shaq. So this is why I'm confused. When he was with the guys, he said they're at a 7 to 8. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think in public situations, Shaq is like, okay, let's keep it together.
I don't think so.
No.
But okay, I don't think so with the boys.
Mm,
I feel like he's been very consistent across the board. So I think he cares about appearances. but not
Right.
with the boys. So when he said the 7 or 8, I'm like, he probably means that. And he did say intimacy is growing and they're at second base trying to get to third.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he meant that, but 7 or 8 ain't perfect.
I mean, but the energy he was given wasn't 7 to 8, and you saying that happy is a stretch. I
Yeah.
mean, that sounds like a 5.
I feel like he said happy as a stretch, then he gave like synonyms for happy. I didn't write the specific ones down, but then when he was like, I wouldn't say I'm happy, I would say, but the things that he said were synonyms for happy. And I was like,
It's
okay.
he's confusing me. I don't know. Y'all tell us in the comments. Was Shaq giving 7 to 8 energy on this episode? To be, he wasn't.
Yeah, definitely not this. I think when he first came home, when they did their activity, that was when I saw the 7 8 energy. But
Mm,
with the meeting with Dr. Pia, and I like that, even though she answered first and was like, it's great, he didn't,
mm-hmm.
he didn't hold back. He wasn't like, oh, yeah, I think it was great too. No, he's like, it's been rocky for me, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Uh,
that was all I had on the boys meetup. I didn't write anything else down.
this is very minor, but I noticed all the men came up to bat and it was fine. As soon as Clint came, they changed the music to the to like this terrible music that clearly showed that he sucked at the thing. But I just thought that was funny. The girls sit down. Did you have anything on that?
So the only thing that I wrote, well, I wrote two things. One, Nicole, she says she wants Chris to prompt her on talking more.
Okay,
Do,
girl.
do you need any prompting? Okay, fine. And then I wrote that Jasmine said that Eris talks a good game, but there's no change. So
Mhm.
that just confirmed. Like I know last week some people were giving Jasmine a hard time, like, oh, she's closed off, she's not in it, she's not trying. He's trying now.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, but I think it's that he's saying, like Kirsten, saying maybe the right things, but what's actually being put into practice.
Yeah, I think Jasmine's really confused. And that's why I hated the meeting with Dr. Pia for her because she's
Mm.
like, I've given and he hasn't reciprocated. I pulled back and he hasn't like done enough to pull me out of this shell that I'm now in. And now Dr. Pia saying I should initiate more. So I don't think she should initiate more. I think she should just let it die down. It's
I
not
don't I don't want her to be confused.
yeah. It's so obvious to us, but
Yeah.
poor girl.
And it is a whole marriage for her. So we have to keep that in mind. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they were laughing at Kirsten. They're like, "Oh, so if Shaq tries to put that thing on you, you gonna turn him down, or you gonna be okay with it?" So I thought that was a cute girl moment. So
Mm-hmm.
she seems to be ready for that with him as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it seems like he hit a home run next week. So
oh man, that's all I have for this episode.
yeah, y'all let us know, what did we miss? I mean,
Mhm.
I just don't feel like a whole lot has been
Happening.
happening. So
Yeah.
y'all let us know what we missed in the comments.
And hopefully next episode will be better. It looks like Eris and Jasmine and Shaq and Kirsten again are the people who will have the most to talk about based on the previews. So
Yeah.
we'll see you guys next week. We have an episode coming out tomorrow, a new podcast episode. So please check that out. If you're watching this on Friday, I'll include it at the end of the video. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.